Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going over YouTube advertising targeting. So I'm going to go through all the different targeting methods you have, all the options you have for when you want to target people through audience targeting, or whether you want to target content. So you can target people in different audience groups, whether it's demographics, whether it's their interests, maybe it's a remarketing audience, or you can target people based on the content that they're viewing. So we have the targeting for video campaigns page open here. So I'm going to also go through it in detail using Google Ads as well and show you how I split targeting groups into separate ad groups. Now, before we get into everything, this video is brought to you by our new page, surfsideppc.com/marketing. So these are actual marketing products that we use, SEMrush, Tailwind app. We've talked about them in different videos. These are affiliate products. If you're interested in them and you go here and you want to sign up for one of them, we will get a commission. It's a great way to support Surfside PPC while also using some of the products that we use as well. So if you're not interested, don't worry about going here. Just watch our video content, but it's a great way to support us. So getting into targeting for video advertising campaigns, there's a lot of different options here. So you can target demographics, detailed demographics. So these are things college students, homeowners, new parents. Otherwise, you could do broad demographic groups, age, gender, parental status, household income. Interests. So there's a lot of different interest audiences created by Google Ads. So affinity audiences are really broad categories of people. Custom affinity audiences, so you can create your own affinity audiences based on what you're advertising. So life events, so when people are moving, graduating from college, getting married. In-market audiences, so when someone is actually in the market to buy something. So maybe they're looking up a lot of information about buying a new car. Maybe they're looking for search engine optimization services or PPC services. Google actually has audiences for that when people are actively looking up something. Custom intent audiences, so similar to in-market audiences, but you're kind of trying to reach people based on what they search on Google. Video remarketing, so you can target people in remarketing audiences, whether they viewed your videos, whether they visited your website. So if we scroll down a little bit, there's also content targeting, so you can target placements, so that would be YouTube channels. So for example, you can target your ads to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel, and then your ads would run on our videos, YouTube videos, so you could pick specific videos that people watch. Websites on the Google Display Network, so this could be a huge variety of websites. If you ever use the Google Display Planner, we do have a tutorial on our channel for that. Apps on the Google Display Network. So again, I'm going to go through all of these things using Google Ads. Topics. So this is very broad, but you could target to different topics, very broad topics that people would be looking at that type of content. So keywords. So keywords is going to be a contextual keywords. So it's going to be the type of website that your audience is most likely interested in based on words or phrases related to a YouTube video. So if you target a keyword like PPC advertising, it doesn't mean someone's actually typing that in. It means they're watching videos related to PPC advertising. And then devices, so you could target computers, smartphones, TV screen devices, mobile devices, so you could really narrow down who you're targeting based on what it is that you're advertising. So coming back into Google Ads over here, so I've opened up my campaign that I created with my YouTube Ads tutorial. You can check that out on our channel. We have our YouTube Ads tutorial, and we'll also put our YouTube Ads playlist. So it's basically like a complete course of YouTube advertising tutorials. We'll put the playlist in the video description for this video. But we've created one ad group already from that tutorial. It was in-market audiences. So coming into the audiences that we're targeting. Okay, so just to go through some of these audiences that we're targeting. So one is a custom intent audience that we created called online marketing. So if we come here, come to custom intent audiences and come to online marketing and click on edit, what you can see is we typed in a lot of different keywords that people would type in to find our content. And all we did was name the audience and click save, and it creates a custom intent audience. You could do that right here. So when you're in your ad group and you're managing the audiences that you're targeting, all you need to do is click on audiences down the side, and you're going to see all these different options here. Whatever it is you're advertising, you should be able to find an audience similar to yours, or you can create custom intent audiences very easily. Just come right here and click on create a new custom intent audience. Now we're also target the in-market audiences, business services, advertising and marketing services, and SEO and SEM services. So you can find that right through in-market audiences. So there's a ton of different options here: arts and craft supplies, autos and vehicles. And then we've also done life events. So people who just created a business, who recently started a business and starting a business soon. So we are targeting people who are creating businesses that might be interested in different marketing options for their business, whether it's online marketing, whether it's offline marketing. our channel should be helpful for them. Now one thing you might want to do is split out these audiences into separate ad groups, and that's something that I tend to do over time. So I'll start with kind of a broader audience, and then depending on how well I'm spending my budget, so this campaign is spending the full budget. I have it set pretty low right now, but as you start spending your full budget, you might want to separate out the different audiences because Google is going to optimize towards the ad groups that you're targeting. So if I'm targeting advertising and marketing services in one ad group, SEO and SEM services in another ad group, and one of these is driving leads, the other one's not, one of them is driving more optimal video views, Google's going to serve to that audience more often. So what I'm going to do here is click on cancel. We're going to come back up here and we're going to come to our campaign newsletter leads. So what I'm going to do is create a new ad group and go through some of these different targeting settings when you're creating them with your Google Ads campaign. So YouTube ads are all ran through Google Ads because it's a Google product. So first what I always do is name my ad group whatever it is I'm targeting. So let's just say targeting example. So first thing you have is demographics here. So it starts with people and content. So you can start with people and then narrow by content, or you could just keep people wide open and just narrow by content, however it is you want to target people. So if we click on demographics here, if you could just leave it wide open and target everybody, or you could say, okay, the people that are viewing my content are going to be most interested in my content fall in a certain demographic. So maybe you say you're just targeting males from a certain age, 25 to 54. You could keep it wide open with parent status, and maybe with household income, you just want to target the top 30% of household income. So you could do that, keep it just like that. So now when I select this as my demographics, that means my ads are only going to show to people who are male, 25 to 54, any parental status, in the top 30% of household income. Household income is only available in certain countries. You can learn more to make sure it's available in your country if you want to use that as your targeting method. But when you narrow by demographics, it's only going to show to people within your demographic targeting. So now if we select audiences, it's going to keep the demographics that we already have. And I'm just going to go through some of the different audience options you have here. So I tend to look at it like this. From the bottom to the top, at the bottom, you're going to have a better chance of driving conversions and driving leads within these two categories. And then as you get towards the top of affinity and custom affinity, you're kind of looking at more broad audiences. So we'll start from the bottom. So remarketing audiences, you can do similar audiences. So these are automatically created when you create remarketing audiences. We have some tutorials on our channel about remarketing audiences. If you're not familiar with how to do it, if you click on Tools in the top corner, you come to Audience Manager under Shared Library. You can either add the Google Ads pixel to your website and create audiences that way, or you can link your Google Analytics account to your Google Ads account and create audiences through Google Analytics. This is my preferred method. The other thing is under linked accounts is when you link your YouTube account to your Google Ads account, then you're able to come into Shared Library under Audience Manager, and you're able to create YouTube remarketing audiences. So you can see here we have YouTube users right here. You can narrow it down. I don't really have it narrowed down right now because I don't really target my YouTube users. But what I could do is just click on all YouTube views, and anybody who's viewed any video from my channel, I can separate it out by certain videos. I can say, okay, anybody who's watched my Google Ads tutorials, I want to send this advertisement out to them. So that's one option you have. Website visitors, so you can target anybody who's visited your website. You could target people who have visited specific pages. Combine lists, so you can combine some of your other audiences into a combined list. And similar audiences are automatically created based on your remarketing audiences. So we're going to come back here. The next thing is in-market life events and custom intent. So I kind of went over this previously, but custom intent you can create yourself. These are just based on the terms that people are most likely to type into Google. So when you create a new custom intent audience, all you want to do is choose your top 50 keywords, enter them all there, name your audience, and it's that simple. Coming into in-market audiences, if you scroll down, you can see there's a ton of different options here. And really what it is anybody who's in the market for one of these types of audiences. So if you click on Home and Garden and you see cookware and bakeware, if I select this, then it's going to be people who are actively looking to buy cookware and bakeware. So there's a lot of different options here, and you can search right here. So click on search and enter whatever it is, and you can actually reach people similar, like whatever it is that you search, it'll bring in the most similar audiences to that. So that's in-market audiences. Now coming down to life events, so you can target people business creation, college graduation, home renovation, job change. So a lot of different options with life events as well. I tend to think that custom intent audiences and in-market audiences will perform best besides the remarketing audiences that you can create, but we're going to come back here. So affinity and custom affinity. So you can create custom affinity audiences using interest, URLs, places, or apps. It's still going to be a very broad audience, but what you can do is if you see something like home and garden, again, as the example, we click to open, it's going to say do-it-yourselfers. So if you click on that, it's going to be people that look up do-it-yourself projects, looked up crafting more often than people who don't. So if you're in an affinity audience, it tends to be very broad. So if you see something like banking and finance, it might just be someone who looks up investment advice every now and then. They get put into an investment category here as avid investors. It doesn't mean that you're only reaching people who are investing all day, every day. You're not just reaching day traders. You're reaching anybody who's shown some level of interest in investing. So it's going to be very broad. These are more useful for in campaigns where you're trying to get your brand and your product out there, but you're not as focused on conversions. You're really more focused on engagement. You're focused on getting impressions to people who might be interested in your products and services. So we come back. So another option here is detailed demographics. So it's parental status, marital status, education, and homeownership status. Again, these are very broad categories. So I like to look at it from bottom to top in terms of how targeted people are and how likely they are to convert. So affinity, custom affinity, detailed demographics, they're more useful for branding in my opinion, getting some impressions out there, getting people to learn more about your brand, about your products, about your services. In market, life events, custom intent, remarketing, and similar audiences. These are going to be the audiences that are more likely to convert and drive you conversions. So we're going to close audiences for now. And now I want to come into keywords. So now we're targeting by content. So this is where you want your ads to show. So you're targeting based on the content that people are viewing. So if we open keywords, what you can do is enter all your keywords right here, enter one word or phrase per line. All keywords are treated as broad keywords, so you don't have to worry about any match types. It's all contextual keywords, so it's not keywords that people are typing in. It's going to target relevant content based on the keywords that you enter. So you can enter your website here. So if I enter surfsideppc.com, it's going to pull in the best keyword ideas for my website, or you can enter your product or service. So what I'm going to do is, just as an example, so let's just say I'm selling area rugs. So what I can do is just search here area rugs, and what it's going to do is pull up the most relevant keywords to what I type in. So it's going to sort them by relevance, so you can see area rug store. So with area rugs, you could start adding some individual keywords. You can click on add all ideas, which is what I tend to do if I'm targeting by keywords, and then you could just remove anything that's not relevant enough. But this is a really good start for if you're trying to target by content. It's going to find any videos related to area rugs. There might not be a lot, but it might end up finding videos related to home decor and just interior design. So that's one way to target, is with keywords. So you can leave the keywords in there and we'll just keep going on. So topics tend to be very, very broad. So if I'm choosing finance here, it's probably going to go across to all sorts of news, business news, finance news, investing news, but it's going to be a little bit more broad than you think. So it's not just going to be showing on finance related videos. It might end up showing on any videos related to business, investing, anything like that. It might end up going to other just news videos. So I don't tend to use topics because I think it is very broad. But if you're looking down here, like let's say, for example, you're advertising for a car website, you can look at the autos and vehicles and look at some of these topics here and just try to find maybe something most related to what it is you're targeting for. But I don't tend to use topics because I think it's just way too broad. Your ads are going to show on so many different videos that might not even be relevant towards it in my experience. So I don't usually use topics. I'd rather use keywords and placements. So we're going to come back up here, close topics here, and come to placement. So placement is a very popular way to target, especially for content. So if you search here, if I type in marketing, it's going to find the top market or YouTube channels, YouTube videos, websites, and apps. So if I click on websites, it's going to find a bunch of different websites here that are going to be related to marketing. If I come back here, if I click on apps, it's going to find the top apps related to marketing. There's probably not too many marketing apps. There's might be a few. We come to YouTube videos, it's going to pull up the top marketing YouTube videos, so you can find different videos that would work best for whatever it is you're advertising. Come back to YouTube channels. So again, you can type in really anything here. So if I'm coming back to placements again, what I'm going to do is just type in cars. I've used that example a few times throughout this tutorial. So it's going to say 1K YouTube channels. So cars and truck stories, car TV, top beautiful cars. So you can look at all these different channels and see if they're most relevant for what it is that you're targeting. When it comes to placement targeting, I like to actually add at least 50 placements. especially if you're targeting videos. So if you're using websites, so cars.com, 150 million impressions per week, this would be a very good website to target because any video that's on cars.com, cargurus.com, carsalesbase.com, any videos that they show that has monetization set up on that video, if you're using an in-stream ad format, your ad's going to show before someone watches that video. So I highly recommend using placement targeting. It definitely works because you can find a lot of different ideas that are really relevant to whatever it is you're advertising. So under the YouTube video section, you might not find too many things that are that relevant for cars, but you can always keep looking and go to YouTube and just see if you can find videos. And if you do, what you can do is enter multiple placements here, and you can just enter the placement URLs line by line so you can find a YouTube video that you want to target, enter it right here, and add placements. So we're going to close out of this now. So that's pretty much all the targeting options you have. You can start by targeting audiences. You can narrow down by demographics. You can choose the audiences that are going to be most interested in what it is you're advertising. And then you can narrow it by content as well. So use keywords. You can use topics. Maybe you find a topic that's really good for your business, but I wouldn't just target by topic. And you can target placements as well. So placements tend to be very popular. I get a lot of questions about placements. I always say I start with at least 50 placements when I'm creating a campaign. And I've had campaigns where they've had over 300 placements on them, individual videos, YouTube channels, different things like that. Just trying to reach anybody, because when you're targeting by content, I mean, people don't generally find videos they're watching by accident. Like, people don't end up on the Surfside PPC YouTube channel unless they're looking up marketing videos, PPC advertising videos, so videos related to that. So if they're watching those videos, they're going to be more interested in whatever it is you're advertising. So now when it comes to best practices for setting up targeting for your campaign, I like to split them into different ad groups. So one thing you could do is, let's say you want to do demographics plus keywords. This would be our example right here. In my previous ad group, I had just a bunch of in-market and intent audiences, but you could do demographics and keywords here. Maybe you want to set up a remarketing ad group. Maybe you want to set up an ad group that's just placements, but you always want to narrow down by demographics first, especially if there's a demographic that works best for whatever it is you're advertising. Now, if you're 50-50 on a lot of things, if people of all ages are buying your products, if parental status doesn't really matter, if household income doesn't really matter, you can leave demographics wide open. But generally, you can narrow down demographics and audiences to really reach people who are looking for your content, and then you can use some of these other content targeting options here like keywords, topics, and placements to find videos, to find Google Display Network placements, so basically websites that have Google Display Network ads enabled on them, and really target people as they're watching content who are going to be most interested in your products and services. So if you have any questions about YouTube advertising targeting, make sure you leave them in the comments section. We'll put this URL in the video description as well, just showing all the different targeting methods you have available, so you can learn some different things and just really try to find the best audience for your video. And the best thing you can do is test. So separate them out in different ad groups and test and see what works best for you. So if you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments section. Thanks for watching our video today, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.